Greetings, I'm Caffeine Rage, and it's time for another Let's Play series. This time I'm tackling the incredible adventures of Van Helsing. Sounds like a 90s epic adventure series, doesn't it, for TV? Feels like it's be in a block with Hercules, The Incredible Journeys, and Xena Warrior Princess. But no, it's an action RPG that was released in May of 2013, if I recall correctly, by Neocore Games, a Hungarian developer. I've wanted to tackle another action RPG since I played Torchlight 2, and I haven't done one for the channel yet. And this one fell into my lap almost for free. I mean, it was part of the Humble Bundle. It's the most recent one as of recording this. It's probably going to be one or two back by the time you're actually watching it. But unfortunately, I can't time travel, so I can't put this up and have a couple episodes ready to go by the time the Humble Bundle launches, so I think we're just going to have to do it this way. So let's go ahead and get started because we have a long ways to go based on everything I've read. We're going to select a character. Oh look, nothing here. I have done some play testing on this as per my normal blind Let's Play status. But I've decided that I'm going to delete everything and start completely fresh. So we're going to be selecting our character. We have a choice of 3 because I have the complete pack from the Humble Bundle. I have the Hunter, which is the default character. He's sort of a ranged melee hybrid, which he has the ability to change modes. And he has a stylish hat. He has that as well. Then we have the Thaumaturge, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly because I've had a hell of a time actually learning how to pronounce it. But for the hell of it, I'm just going to call him the Mage because that's basically what he is. He's a spellcasting ranged damage dealer, but he's also very, very squishy. Then we have the Arcane Mechanic, which is actually closest to what I've played in Torchlight 2, which was the Engineer. Ranged attack with a lot of summoned abilities. You could summon a bunch of little steampunk-like companions and different clockwork things. So I think I'm going to go with the Arcane Mechanic. And you may notice the name Abraham Van Helsing. Yes, it is that Van Helsing. Well, not exactly that Van Helsing, it's actually his son. So we're going to go ahead and keep the default name because we want to keep the famous name. Difficulty. Oh, difficulty is always the tough choice for me, and I don't think we have an option to change it after the fact, so we're going to have to play a little bit cautiously here. I feel least confident that I'm not going to have to bow down to casual, but I think normal is actually probably a good sweet spot for me. I mean, it's really how I usually play anyway, and we're not going to hit a hardcore character. So let's go ahead and create this. And now we have only one option. The main story. The scenario is basically a monster arena from what I could tell, but we're not going to have access to that for quite a while, so pretty much forget that. And Never Ending Story is exactly, well, it's not the 80s movies, or should I say movie, because the sequels never existed. No, they don't exist. Don't argue with this. Trust me, they don't exist. Never Ending Story is basically just Game Plus, so we're just going to, well, we can't do that, so we're just going to hit Story. And once I do, we'll have a cutscene, so I'll see you on the other side of it.
It all began with a call for help. A letter from Borgovia addressed to Van Helsing, the great monster slayer, my father. He doesn't take cases anymore, but I am a hunter too. So I set off on a journey with Lady Katarina, my remarkable companion. I'm an expert on the supernatural, and I seem to be drawn to it. Occasionally events get out of control, and then we have to leave in quite a hurry. Sometimes it's Katarina's fault. She can be quite reckless at times. Still, she always helps me save the day. And she also happens to be a ghost. My father rescued her from Borgovia, and she has been bound to serve our family ever since. Katarina often complains about it, but I think she really likes the thrill of the adventure. She is a charming soul, but she also has a darker side. Good. It comes in helpful when I'm in danger. Somewhere along the way, we slowly learned to work together. And finally, in the cold rain of Venice, we became a team. The last leg of the journey was by sea. Apart from the Kraken, the pirates, and the storms, it was mostly uneventful. I had time to ponder my mission. Once Borgovia was a dark place where monsters lived. Long ago, my father defeated the Immortal Kings, created a peace treaty, and entrusted the land to some enlightened individuals. What could have happened there? What could be even more frightening than the reign of monsters? The closer we drew to Borgovia, the more confusing the rumors became. The land behind the Thunderhead Mountains was wrapped in mystery. As our carriage approached the mountain pass, I had a sense of foreboding. It didn't really surprise me when I heard an explosion. The adventure has just begun. Katarina, shouldn't you help me out with this?
I don't care.
Please,
Get
we're
him!
just some ragged outlaws. See, it wasn't that difficult, was it?
So this is how they welcome folk around here.
Yes. Why? It is an ancient and venerable tradition.
And I'm back. Pretty much standard action RPG stuff for most of the controls. There are some oddities that I'll get into in a bit, especially when we level up, because that's going to have a fun little, not really tirade, but a little bit of a discussion. But we have a little bit ways to go before we hit that. Like I said, I have played this section a few times because I wanted to try out all three of the different classes before settling on one, because, well, there's really no way to go between them without completely restarting the series. So it made sense to just take and have a little bit of extra time. Plus, it makes it so I know exactly what's going on, at least in this opening area. Like, there's going to be a cutscene right here.
Oh my, that was stupid.
I'm impressed, actually. They do have a sense of theatrics.
We could still fly over the chasm.
Really?
Oh, right. Sometimes I forget how human you are.
We should follow the normal pathway there.
Yeah, I'm just checking my inventory during that little cutscene because, well, inventory management isn't something that I could really do off-screen, at least in this genre, because that's the main draw of it, isn't it? Is that you get all sorts of fun little weapons and items and that sort of thing. That's part of the fun. That's at least part of the fun. And there's our level up. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the skill ups, which is a little strange. First of all, the hunter actually has two talent trees, one focusing on his melee and one on his ranged. The DLC characters, the Thermagog, I'm completely butchering the pronunciation after I went out of my way to try to learn it. And the arcane mechanic has only one skill tree, but it's a lot taller than the hunter's tree, which has it splits his points into two different trees. It's very strange that the DLC characters only have one, but it allows the mastery to build up a lot easier on them, which maybe is a design choice to make them a bit easier. I don't know. I haven't played that far into it, so I'm not sure what the reasoning is there. We have a choice of 3 skills here, and we also have tricks, which is a sort of additional cooldowns. Some of these definitely could have fit on the arcane mechanics side, and I'm not really sure why they split some of these abilities off, especially the turrets. But it's one of those things that I guess maybe it's just a design choice for more console-oriented action RPG. Which you may notice that I only have access to 4 ability slots on top of my left and right. This title does suffer a bit from console-itis. So maybe it's just they designed this around having a not quite as a steep a learning curve. I'm not sure what the reasoning is. I'm splitting these tricks off, at least some of them. I can understand some of the other ones, you know, like the ones that affect Lady Katarina herself being separated off, because that would make a little bit more sense, but that's how it goes. I do have also ores to talk about real quick. Ores are general buffs that are active whenever the modifier or the requirements are in place. And I start off with 2 right off the bat. I'm pretty sure these are from the DLC that I have, which it's one of those things that I'm not really happy about, having DLC that gives me a buff. But it's something that I have to just put up with, I guess, because, well, I can't really turn it off. Well, I can, but it severely limits my abilities later on. So it's something I'm just going to have to live with. So we're going to... Oh, and I should quickly point out that all the activatable abilities, the ones that aren't passives like the Rage here, have these additional 3 abilities on them. For example, Grenade Lob has Frag Grenade, Phosphorus Grenade, and High Grade Propellant. This is an additional bonus that you can apply to them by spending a Rage, which you gain by killing enemies and getting critical hits. So we are going to go ahead and pick up the Torch and pick up Unstable Mixture for additional damage to have to spend our Rage with. And we are going to level up Grenade Lob one more to go towards this ability. These 2 abilities for the Grenade Lob, the Concussion Grenade and the Cluster Grenade, require a certain amount of points to be spent in the skill itself. It's a little bit of a weird system, I know it, but it makes sense once you get used to it. But it's something that I actually had to spend a little bit of time learning. So we have that done, and then we have skills, or attributes, I should say. Attributes in action RPGs I've never really gotten the hang of. Obviously, there's usually 1, maybe 2 dump skills that has that you just put your extra points into, which for this class is actually willpower and to some degree luck. The main things are body and dexterity, so we're going to put a couple in dexterity, 1 in body. We're going to put 1 in luck for a little bit extra gold find, some magic find and dodge and that sort of thing. And let's go ahead and put the remainder into sorry, not luck, but dexterity, to get a little bit of extra damage going. So I think I've sat here and talked for long enough, so let's go ahead and hit the treasure chest and continue on. Some more wolves and a good chance to show off the torch that we picked up. It doesn't have as long a range as the Grenade Lob, because, well, watch this. The Grenade Lob could actually go a fairly long way, but the torch is very short range. It's very dangerous to use in some circumstances. And I do have the ability to switch between 2 pages of these abilities, by the way, by pressing tab. So it's not quite console-itis, like I said, but it's not something I'm very happy about. That's one black mark I do have against the game, is that they very limit the amount of abilities that you could use. Yes, I know that the game was designed for a gamepad in mind, but at the same time, it's something that really shouldn't be a case, at least on the PC version. It just feels odd. Or I wish there was a better system for it, because only having access to 4 abilities on top of your left and right mouse is just not very good, especially for a class that gets a ton of abilities like the Arcane Mechanic. There's just so many things to have that you would eventually you'll usually end up favoring certain abilities anyway, but at the same time being forced into just a couple is not very fun. So let's just kill some more wolves. And we'll roast a few. Now we got one more set of wolves. That's right. Then we have something that another thing that kind of bugs me, at least in the opening area, is that there's this one creature right here that I have a terrible time actually hitting because of how the class is made up. But the hunter could just wail away on him and get all sorts of treasure from him. It's once again one of those odd little things. I feel like I'm nitpicking the game already, but so far I have enjoyed it enough that I actually want to do a series on it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing it right now. Oh, those went by easily.
I don't have any healing potions.
Lady Katarina's in trouble, but at least she didn't die. Again. And she actually leveled... Oh, no, she didn't level up. That's a little bit later, actually. But we leveled up, so we're going to... Well, let's spend our attribute points first. Put another one into luck, one more into body, and we'll put one into willpower for a little bit extra mana. Not a ton of mana, but a little bit. There we go. And something I am going to do right off the bat is hand Lady Katarina some potions. Because our companion is going to be taking the blunt of the punishment for us, so we want to keep her alive. But what I'm going to do is adjust this so she uses the healing potions at 25% health instead of 30. I'm also going to tell her to pick up gold. I'm not sure if she hands off the rest, but I do know that she hands off all the gold she picks up, so I feel comfortable doing that at least. We're going to have her go into melee range, and need to close that, bring up the inventory. I'll talk about the items here in just a second. And we're going to hand her 7 ought to do. There you go. And let's go ahead and spend our skill point that we picked up. Then we'll look at what we picked up in the last couple minutes as I blather away. I'm sorry this is so talky about the abilities, but in action RPGs, you really need to get into the meat of the mechanics, at least in the first episode. Then I could just go barreling headlong and not have to worry about this as much. Let's go ahead and pick up another one of the torch. Pick up one of these so she could... This has the ability that... This is the ability that splits her into 3 different tanks, essentially. Or ghosts that could grab enemies that would otherwise be chasing us around. And each rank of it gives the extra illusions a certain percentage of her health. So the first rank isn't that helpful, but the second and third ranks make it far more helpful. So let's press on.
Swallow us whole and spit out my bones.
And still no sign of a decent inn.
Why would you need an inn? You're a ghost.
So I'm supposed to spend the rest of my nights among the trees like a peasant girl who got lost in the woods.
I'd love the idea.
Boy, Van Helsing's kind of jerked towards her. Let's go ahead and head over here, hit the treasure chest, and we'll see what we've picked up. Yeah, and of course there's always wolves. But then again, that's what you get for getting into the woods. Ah, there's Lady Katarina's level. She hasn't used her health potions yet. Once again, she has the ability to level up her stats just like Van Helsing does. But I'm going to focus mainly on her body with... Which, you know, giving body points to a ghost feels really odd, doesn't it? And I'm actually going to give her 1 in dexterity, so she has a little bit extra dodge value. And she also has 2 skill trees, general skills and blue blood skills. This tree is from the blue blood DLC, so normally you wouldn't have access to this unless you had the complete edition or bought that DLC outright. So I am going to give her some extra dodge. And also go back to her general skills and give her some paralyzation. Because that feels like a good tanky combo. And we also picked up a perk, which is another thing. as you get more reputation, basically from like the Torchlight 2 version, where you get reputation and you get extra skill levels. In this, you get the ability to have extra perks. Berserker, Ghost Whisperer, Precise, Second Chance, and Collector, what we have right off the bat. And I think I'm going to go Ghost Whisperer, because while Collector is nice to have another inventory page, it's not really necessary, at least right off the bat. And these other ones are a bit, so Ghost Whisperer makes her a lot more tankier, and just like I said before, that's what I've been focusing on, because that's what this character really needs, is a tank. So let's go ahead and head towards town, then we'll be wrapping things up. Oh look, a roving band of golems. Precious! Filthy hobbitses! I'm sure these are actually some sort of other creature in lore, but you know, calling them golems feels about right. Did I miss anything? No? Usually there's one last one that attacks me before I trigger this cutscene. So let's go ahead and head into town.
Stop right there.
Easy, lad. We're friends here.
They all say that, but I won't let in any dangerous fiends on my watch. No, sir.
How dare you? I'm going to tear you apart, and then I'll teach you some manners.
No, I didn't mean you, my lady. The undead nobility of Borgovia are always welcome to haunt here, but you, with the Van Helsing hat, we don't like your sort here, with your weapons and bad manners.
I am a monster hunter.
Of course you are. Or you are just a troublemaker.
Oh, you don't have to worry about my servant. I keep him on a short leash.
Katarina?
Thank you, my lady. You can pass, and your manservant too.
We'll talk about this later.
Fine, don't even thank me.
And here we are going to town, and to wrap things up. One downside about having an actually fast connection, or not connection, but computer, is that I can't really read the extra little bit on the side during the loading screen. I know, first world problems. We'll look and see what we have inventory wise, and we'll head off into the sunset for this video. Well, as with all action RPGs that has items that are bound to a specific class, you're going to get a lot of them. So those are completely worthless. Actually, we could put those on her for a little bit of extra damage and some ice bonus damage. I'm not sure if that actually affects her or not, but it's not bad. I'll talk about Essence next time. We'll put the armor on him. And these guns are absolutely worthless, so send those over. Swap out those gloves. Actually, that gun is a lot better, I think. Yeah. And we'll give her some armor. And I think that is it. Actually, we want to give her the 12 armor. There we go. And I'll hold on to the gloves to talk about Essence next time. So that will be wrapping us up for this first episode. Thank you for watching, and I'm sorry this was a little bit talky, at least for going over how the game works, but like I said, I think it's really required to handle an action RPG like this. So thank you for bearing with me, and thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.